Hello everyone, my name is David. Today we are going to take a look at another real story with you. There's one Indian film that inspired countless criminals within the country to try copying its plot to cover up their crimes. It was a brilliant film with an outstanding story and exceptional acting. The first part of this film was a super hit when it was released. Later, a part 2 was made, and that too became a massive hit. The central theme of this film revolves around a murder case where the killer commits a murder and then hides the body, cleverly misleading the law and the police, and continues to escape punishment. Every criminal, every murderer, dreams of doing the same, to commit the crime in such a way that the police can't catch them and they can cover up their crime to avoid punishment. But things rarely work out that way. However, today I'm going to tell you the story of a man who not only copied part 1 of that film, but went on to fully imitate part 2 as well. What was shown in part 1 of the film, and then in part 2, this person copied both of those things exactly to cover up his crime. His thinking, his clever mind, completely confused the Bengaluru police. It's a strange story that begins on August 12th, 2024, near Bengaluru, when a couple, a husband and wife, walk into a police station. There, they file a report. The report says that the wife from the couple tells the police, "I have a friend, and that friend's name is Lalita. Lalita has been missing for the past 24 hours. But we're not just suspicious, we're certain that Lalita has been murdered, and the killer is none other than her own husband, Umesh." The police gather all the information and say, "All right, please file a formal complaint." The police register, and after that, they go straight to Lalita's husband, Umesh, and begin questioning him. They ask, "When did you marry your wife?" And that's when the whole story starts to unfold. It's revealed that Lalita and Umesh met 5 years ago, and eventually they fell in love. After falling in love, the two decided to get married. They got married and even had a young son. Lalita was a beautician, and Umesh worked at a travel agency. They lived near Bengaluru. However, over time, their relationship started to deteriorate, mainly due to suspicion. Umesh suspected that Lalita was having an affair with someone else, and Lalita felt the same about Umesh. Because of this, for the past 2 years, the husband and wife had been living separately, although both still lived in the same city, Bengaluru. Everything was going on relatively fine until recently, when Lalita made a new decision. She had decided that she would divorce Umesh and, after the divorce, live with her son. But Umesh didn't want Lalita to divorce him, so even though they were living separately, the matter of divorce was still ongoing. Then, on August 11th, Lalita goes to her friend and says, "I just got a call from Umesh. He wants to talk about the divorce and other things. He's saying we should meet once and discuss everything, so maybe we can settle things outside of court. So, come with me at the time and place he mentioned, and we'll sit and talk." Lalita then tells her friend, "Look, I am going, but I'm feeling uneasy," she says. "I don't know what's going on in Umesh's mind. I'm scared, but I also need to end all of this once and for all. So please give me your scooter. I'll go on it and return it to you in the evening." Lalita's friend gives her the scooter, but also says, "Look, I'm going to share my live location with you because honestly, I don't trust Umesh. If I don't come back, inform the police." Lalita then shares her live location with her friend, and after that, she leaves. The live location shows that she's headed toward a forested area about 60 kilometers from Bengaluru. The location stops moving once she reaches there. Along the way, Lalita spoke to her friend once or twice, saying, "I'm almost there." But then, at exactly 6:11 p.m. in the evening, her phone switches off. Up until that moment, they had been talking. Now, her friend starts getting worried Lalita had reached the location, but her phone was off. At first, she thinks maybe the battery died, or perhaps there's no network in that area. Still, she waits but keeps remembering that Lalita had said, "I don't trust my husband." Evening turns into night, but Lalita doesn't return, not even to return the scooter. Late at night, suddenly, Umesh shows up at the house of Lalita's friend, the same friend from whom she had taken the scooter. He arrives on that very same scooter and gives it back to her. The friend asks, "Where is my friend Lalita?" Umesh replies, "I dropped her off at the bus stop. She probably went home." Meanwhile, Lalita's phone remains switched off, and before leaving, she had already expressed her suspicion. Now, her friend grows even more doubtful. She talks to her husband, who suggests, "Let's wait through the night and see." Morning comes, still no trace of Lalita. Her phone is off and she hasn't returned to her home either. Now the friend feels something is definitely wrong, and on August 12, 2024, she goes to the police station and files a missing report for her friend Lalita. She tells the police everything, that Lalita had shared her live location, the exact time of the last call, and how her phone went off after that. The police then pick up Umesh for questioning. He repeats the same story. "I went to talk about the divorce. Then I dropped her at the bus stop and came back. I don't know where she went after that." But the police were suspicious because they had access to the live location data. The police said, "Let's go to the location from the live tracking." And they took Umesh with them to the last place where the live location had stopped the one her friend had received. When they reached there, they saw that the area was surrounded by dense forest and nothing else. It was a thick, remote jungle. The police started wondering, why did the live location stop in such a far-off, forested area? What could be the reason? Then they began questioning Umesh more seriously. Under pressure, Umesh finally broke down. He started telling the story, saying, "My wife was going to divorce me. There were so many things going on. I had to pay compensation and other money in court, and maybe I wouldn't even be allowed to see my son anymore. That's why I first called her to talk things through. I took her with me, and once we reached there, I found out that she had shared her live location with her friend. After reaching the spot, I tried to talk to her, but the conversation didn't go well. I got angry, grabbed her by the neck, and killed her. After the murder, I dug a pit right there in the forest, buried her body, and came back thinking no one would ever find out." Now that Umesh had confessed everything, the police thought, at least one case is solved. At the location Umesh mentioned, the police dug up the ground and recovered Lalita's body. Since it was found within 24 hours, identifying her wasn't difficult. After questioning Umesh in police custody, preparations were being made to send him to jail. But just then, after hearing the entire story, a question came to the mind of the local inspector. The question was, if Umesh really wanted to kill Lalita, then why did he take her so far? The area in Bengaluru where both he and Lalita lived was already isolated, a quiet spot with bushes, little traffic, and not many people around. Why did he have to go 60 kilometers away to kill his wife? That part seemed very odd. The inspector even asked him, "You could have killed her anywhere, buried her anywhere. Why take her so far, near that forest?" Umesh kept insisting, "There was no one around there. I didn't take her there with the intention of killing her. I just wanted to talk. When the conversation didn't go well, I got angry and killed her. Since the place was deserted, I buried her there." But the police weren't convinced by his answer. They felt like he was hiding something, and that question kept circling in the inspector's mind over and over again. A killer who sets out with the intention to murder usually tries to do it quickly to kill, get rid of the body, and escape as fast as possible. But in this case, he traveled a full 60 kilometers and only then killed his wife. There's definitely some mystery or secret hidden in that 60-kilometer journey, but what it is, the inspector still doesn't know. Umesh was in police custody at the time, and since the police had official custody of him, they decided to interrogate him in more detail. The proper police methods were applied even though he had already confessed to the murder. At this point, the police didn't really need anything more. They had recovered the body based on Umesh's own directions, and everything seemed to be in place. But something still didn't sit right with them. That 60-kilometer distance there seemed to be a hidden story behind it. So the police started questioning Umesh again, focusing specifically on that 60-kilometer journey. They kept asking over and over, and finally they succeeded. After repeated questioning, a story came out, a secret that had been buried for the past 5 years, unknown to anyone. And when it was finally revealed, even the police were stunned. The story was this. When Umesh was in police custody and asked again and again, he finally said, "I have a friend named Kiran. We both grew up together in a village not too far from Bengaluru," Umesh said. "We were raised side by side, and even after I moved to the city, Kiran still lived there. But our friendship remained strong. One day I met Kiran and opened up to him. I told him about my family situation. I said, 'Man, I want to get rid of my wife. I want to kill her.' He said, 'All right. If you want to fool the police, here's what you do. Take her about 60 kilometers away from Bengaluru to a forest. Take her there, kill her, and bury the body. No one will ever find out.' So I did exactly what he said. Now the police began wondering, how did Kiran know that killing someone in that forest and burying the body would be safe? How was he so confident that the police would never find out? So they began questioning Umesh more. Eventually, he revealed the full story. Actually, 5 years ago, Kiran killed his own wife and buried her in that very same forest, and to this day the police never found out. When this shocking revelation came out, even the police were stunned. A man committed a murder 5 years ago, and no one has found out until now. How is that even possible? The police then go to the village and take Kiran into custody. Once he's detained, they begin questioning him. But since the case is 5 years old and no official complaint was ever filed, the police wonder what they can really do. So they start digging into Kiran's background and look into the story of his wife. That's when they find out that Kiran and his wife Pooja had a love marriage. They lived together and even had a child. But in 2019, one day, Pooja suddenly disappeared. Kiran told everyone in the village that she had run away with her lover. The entire village believed it, as did Kiran's in-laws, even her mother. Now, the police send a team to track down Pooja's mother. Meanwhile, Kiran has already been in police custody for 4 to 5 days, and strangely, not a single relative has come to check on him. The police find that odd. Eventually, the team reaches Pooja's mother. They ask her, "Where is your daughter, Pooja?" She replies, "She ran away with her lover 5 years ago." They ask, "How do you know that?" She says, "Kiran told me." Kiran had told everyone that she ran away, but 5 years had passed and no one had ever tried to find her. The police asked her mother, "Did you ever try to look for her?" She replied, "My son-in-law said he filed a police report. He even showed me a copy of the complaint." After speaking to her in detail, the police felt they now had enough reason to dig deeper. They once again interrogated Kiran. He said, "Yes, my wife ran away and I filed a complaint at the local police station in my village. 2 of my friends went with me when I filed the report." So the police team went to that police station to verify the claim. Pooja had supposedly gone missing on May 1st, 2019. The police reviewed all the records from May 1st to May 10th and even beyond. But there was no missing complaint filed under the name Pooja, nothing at all. When the police confronted Kiran again, saying, "There's no record of any complaint," he insisted, "I went with my 2 friends to file it." He gave the names of the 2 friends. The police picked up those friends and questioned them, but both denied everything. They said, "We never even went to the police station. We were never with him. We don't know anything about any complaint." Now, the police were sure something was very wrong. He was lying. After that, the police confronted him with all the evidence. "You never filed any complaint. Both of your friends are denying your story. Umesh has already revealed that you advised him on how to commit a murder. Your mother-in-law also confirmed that you lied about filing a complaint. So now it's better for you to tell the truth." At this point, Kiran realized he was cornered. He finally confessed. The truth was that he didn't get along with his wife. She had certain habits and behavior he didn't like. Then one day, when he got the chance, he murdered her. This happened in May 2019. He took the body with him on a scooter. A little distance away from his house, there was a dense forest area. He went deep inside, dug a pit, and buried her body. Then he returned home and told everyone in the village that his wife had run off with her lover, leaving even her small child behind. In reality, Kieran had watched that movie around the same time. He knew that if you bury the body in a place where the police can never reach, then without a body there can be no murder case. So he buried her body. And on the other hand, he told everyone at his in-laws' place that his wife had run away. To convince them, he even wrote out a fake complaint on a piece of paper, stating that his wife had run off and that she should be searched for. He showed this complaint to his in-laws, especially his mother-in-law, saying, "Look, I filed this with the police," even though he never actually went to any police station. There was no official record of that complaint. He had buried his wife, but the place where he buried her, he would quietly visit that forest once every month just to check on the grave. Every month, he would silently go there, look around to make sure everything was in place, no grass had overgrown, nothing was disturbed. Then he'd smile to himself and leave. This routine continued all the way through to 2021. He had committed the murder in 2019, and by 2021 he was still making monthly visits to the burial site just to reassure himself that the body was still safely buried underground. Then something unexpected happened. In 2021, the Forest Department decided to carry out digging and development work in that very part of the forest where he had buried his wife. Their plan was to clear that dense area and build fencing around it. The reason was that wild elephants and other animals would often wander from the forest into nearby villages, causing chaos. So the department decided to cut some bushes and trees and create a barrier path to keep the wild animals from crossing over into human settlements. Since Kieran visited the forest every month, he noticed the changes and forest activity. In 2021, when he went there again, he suddenly saw a lot of movement. Forest department workers surveying the area, measuring land, planning where to set up fences and nets. He had no idea what was going on, so he innocently asked one of the workers, "Brother, what's happening here?" They told him, "We're setting up a fence so wild animals don't enter nearby villages." Coincidentally, the route for that fencing work went right through the area where Kieran had buried his wife's body. The ground was going to be dug up because they had to install metal mesh and poles into the soil. For the first time, Kieran became truly scared if they started digging, the body would be discovered. And once the body was found, he knew exactly what would happen next, a DNA test, forensic analysis, and he'd be caught. While all this was going on, the second part of that movie was released. In the first part, there's a murder, and a body is buried under a police station that is being built, and the movie ends there. In the second part, the plot continues with the fear that someday the skeleton might be discovered from beneath the police station. So the character digs it up, burns it, and buries it again somewhere else to cover the crime and avoids getting caught. Kieran had watched both parts of the film. Now the forest department was about to begin digging, and he feared that his wife's 2-year-old skeleton would be uncovered and his secret would be exposed. Because no matter how much a criminal tries to stay calm, deep down, there's always fear. He thought, before they dig it up, I have to do something myself. The entire plot of the film kept playing in his mind. One evening, as darkness fell, he went to the forest. The forest department workers weren't there yet since the digging hadn't officially begun. He reached the spot he knew exactly where the grave was. He started digging up the same place where he had buried his wife 2 years ago. After digging, he found the remains, a few teeth, some bones, part of the skeleton. He took all of it out. Then he walked a short distance into the forest. He had brought petrol with him. He burned the remains. since the bones and other parts wouldn't be completely reduced to ashes. He gathered whatever was left, the bones, teeth, and other skeletal pieces. Then he carried them to a farmhouse located near the edge of the forest. A lot of people build large farmhouses near such forest areas. Behind one such farmhouse, he dug another pit and buried the partially burned remains there. So basically, for 2 years, the body remained buried at one spot in the forest. When the forest department arrived to begin digging in 2021, he exhumed the remains, burned them, and then buried them again, this time at a different location. He literally followed the exact plot of that film in real life. After doing all this, he felt relieved and fearless. The forest work continued from 2021, the area was dug up, and everything was changed, but Kiran remained safe because there was nothing left to find. Then, in 2024, his friend Umesh got into a similar conflict with his own wife. When he sought advice, Kiran told him, "Here's what you do, go 60 kilometers outside the city to this forest, kill her there and bury her. No one will ever know. Has anyone ever found out about me till now?" Kiran was his closest friend, and that's where he made his mistake. He shared his secret. Umesh followed his advice, took Lalita to the forest, killed her, and buried her at the same type of spot. When the truth came out, a police team first visited the original burial site Kiran had mentioned, but the forest department had already cleared it. Then the team went to the second location, behind the farmhouse, as described by Kiran. They dug at the exact spot he indicated, and from there they recovered pieces of a skeleton, teeth, bones, and other remains. The Bengaluru police had brought a forensic team along, and all the evidence was carefully collected and sent to the forensic lab. The forensic remains, bones, teeth, and all are believed to be those of Pooja, Kiran's wife, who went missing in 2019. Following this, Pooja's mother filed an FIR against Kiran, and now both Kiran and his friend Umesh are in jail together. So this was today's story. Thank you for joining us on this journey today. We hope you enjoyed the content and found it valuable.